Good afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Greenfoot Rapids pregame show. It is Monday afternoon, Family Day Monday, I should add, and the Rapids are back in action on home ice in one of the last home games of the regular season. There's a lot to digest in this episode, but in case you missed it, ladies and gentlemen, for the very first time in franchise history, the Grand Falls Rapids are headed to the postseason. Now, it's a very important weekend for multiple different reasons. Number one, because they may have clinched, but the division has not yet been set. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But first, we are going to get right into the tail of the tape, everybody's favorite segment. So first off, the Timberwolves coming into this game with a 14-27-3-1 record on the year. The Rapids netting them a sixth in the division. The Rapids in fourth place currently with a 21-15-5-1 record. Cohen Miller leading the way with 26 goals. Jonah Leard with 38 assists, and they are tied for the team lead in points with 56. Alexis Doucette on the other way, leading the way in goals, assists, and points with 19 goals, 23 assists, and 42 total points. Now, on the season, this is where things get a little bit interesting, and while the tiebreaker factor could come into this as a big thing, right, is the goals for and the goals against. Obviously, with Miramichi, you don't need to worry about that. They've been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, so you won't be contending with them, but you will be contending with a team, let's say, like West Kent or Edmundston or Chaleur. So the Rapids have 170 goals for compared to the Timberwolves 140, and the goals against the second fewest in the division with 158, and the Timberwolves with the most in the division at 182. Now, going into this game, the special teams, not quite spectacular. The Timberwolves with the sixth and last place power play in the East League North Division at 15.1. The Rapids with the fourth ranked power play at 19.1. And then here's where your stats get a little bit more evened out, I should say, is the Timberwolves with an 80.6% on the penalty kill and the Rapids with an 82.6, putting them in second place in the division. So now with those stats out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about the game, because this is a historically, this season, the Rapids have struggled against the Timberwolves just a little bit, right? The last time that these two teams faced each other was January 3rd, and that was in Miramichi, where they lost 2-1 in a shootout. Before that, it was when Miramichi faced Grand Falls, they won 4-2, and then, well, the rest is history. It's been kind of a back-and-forth series, but a lot of the time the Rapids have struggled in the first couple of periods. Now, this is a really important game for a couple different reasons. Like I mentioned, the playoffs are clinched. So the Rapids are in. Everybody's in. I think the Amherst Ramblers are the last team that needs to clinch in the South Division, and then the entire league is set in terms of playoff teams. However, the division is not finalized. There are still 7 games left in the regular season for the division to be determined. Now, where the Rapids sit right now is in fourth place in the East League North, which is only 5 points behind West Kent for first place. So that's the equivalent of 2 wins plus going to overtime to tie with them. Now, they're 1 point behind the Chaleur Lightning for third place. They are 4 points behind Edmundston for second, which if they win today will be 2 points behind. And then West Kent, obviously, they're going to be sitting 3 points behind if they were to win today as well. So, and next weekend is going to be an even bigger weekend, right? But we're going to talk about that in just a moment. I want to continue on the track just a little bit. So the Miramichi Timberwolves, they obviously sold off a lot of their players. Thatcher Hughes is gone. Jack Flanagan's gone. Ryan Hackett, I think, is one of the only remaining members that is still on that team, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a Miramichi team that is otherwise going into a rebuild. So am I expecting this to be a cakewalk? No, but it would be a great opportunity for the Rapids to get some extra points and get that placing in the standings. and be able to climb up as much as they can, because like I said, the playoffs are clinched. Now it comes down to just focusing on the rest of the regular season and getting as high up in the standings as you can. You don't necessarily have to win the division, but you want the best possible playoff matchup. And I think personally, it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be very, very close to see who ends up winning the division and who places where. Now, with that said, in all likelihood right now, if the playoffs did start today, the Rapids would be playing the Steamers and the Lightning would be playing the Blizzard. Now, there are 2 games next weekend that Grand Falls is going to be playing, or I guess this weekend coming up. Yeah, when it's a holiday, it throws you off sometimes. When it's a Monday and they're playing a game on a Monday, it throws you off a little bit. So Friday, they're playing the Edmonton Blizzard at home. Then on Sunday, they play the Campbellton Tigers. So the Blizzard, the last time that they played in Edmonton, they ended up losing, and it was, well, not a pretty one. I think we all know that very well. But Campbellton, the last time that they won, it was a big win, 5-1, and that was last week in Campbellton, right? Last Friday in Campbellton. So this is going to be a big couple of games, not just for the Rapids, because they face off. Their next 4 out of 7 games are against playoff teams, right? They face Edmundston on Friday. Then they are off to Edmundston on the 26th of February. They return home on the 27th to face off against Chaleur. And then the final home game of the regular season, Miramichi. But then their final game of the season is against West Kent in Bouctouche. So you're playing March 8th against West Kent, February 27th against Chaleur. You're in Edmundston on the 26th of February. And then next weekend you play Edmundston on the Friday as well. So you're facing off against the Blizzard 2 out of 3 times. Facing Chaleur once, facing West Kent once. So, like I said, 4 out of the last 7 games of the regular season are playoff teams, and those are must-win games. Because with the standings as tight as they are right now, you want to gain as much ground as you possibly can. So, that's a big, big, big point. And I know a lot of people were curious about where the Rapids are going to finish, who they're going to be playing in the playoffs, and it may take until the very last game of the season to figure that out. But that's why you want to try and catch up to these guys as much as possible, because let's just say that West Kent goes on a 3 or 4 game losing streak. That could give the Rapids a little bit of leeway to catch up to them and potentially get the matchup that they want in the first round. So, with that said, there's a couple of other things that I want to talk about as well, and it is going to be the final heat index of the season. So if you haven't already done so, don't forget to place your vote for your Rapids Heat Index Player of the Week. I'm going to hit the QR code on the screen right now. You have the chance to vote for your final couple of weeks fan vote. It will be unveiled the last game of the regular season on March 6th at home against the Campbellton Tigers. This is going to be your chance to get in and say who you think should be the final Rapids Heat Index Player of the season. Obviously, we won't be doing it for the playoffs. It's going to end as the playoffs start, but we'll come up with something a lot more fun. It's still going to be your last opportunity to get your votes in and vote for your player on the Heat Index Player of the Week. I know that there's a couple of good options that are up there already, but you definitely want to make sure that you're getting them in before that deadline, which is coming up very, very soon. Make sure you're voting. Make sure to get your opinions in, and we will unveil that on the last home game of the regular season. So, without further ado, this is a big one. We know that. The Rapids have 3 games this week, tonight, Wednesday, and Sunday, or tonight, Friday, and Sunday. Then, if they win all 3 games, best case scenario, they will, in theory, if everything goes well, climb to within 1 point of first place in the standings. With that said, I'm going to go up and get ready for the game on Flow Sports. You can catch me at 3 o'clock, puck drop. There's going to be a lot of action up in the booth here for you. If you are planning on getting to the game, guys, make some noise. Your Rapids are in the playoffs. I want you loud, and I want you proud. Out of your seats, jumping up and down. Do whatever you need to do to make some noise. This Rapids team is just starting the mission. And what's the mission? You'll see soon enough. playoffs. Coming soon. Make sure you're making noise today. Go Rapids, go.